All right. Hello, everybody. This is Jynnette The Oracle, and welcome to Oracle Talks. So, I have a different kind of message today coming through, something that's been sitting on my spirit for uh, probably a good week now. As you can see from the title, it is Destiny Diversions. So, this is going to be more of a esoteric spiritual warfare, uh, internal and external kind of conversation today, which is, is is important to have. Before I get into that, though, quick announcements. The May astrology report is out on the blog, so you can check that out by going to the website. You can find it in the link below, but in the description below. But of course, it's innersoundalchemy.com. So that is up available for you. It does have important dates for spirit work as well as important dates for entrepreneurs. Also, given the nature of this message that I've already been sitting with spirit, like I said, for the past week, and before jumping on here live, um, I am also making available energy clearing work available. So if you are interested in that, I have the link for it below. Okay. Um, and besides that, I think that's it. Oh, lastly, I am coming up on the 10-year anniversary of Innocent Alchemy for June, beginning of June. So I'm going to be dropping a newsletter with exclusive specials for those who are newsletter subscribers. So I'm not going to be sharing it online anywhere. It's only going to be coming through that avenue of communication. So if you want to take advantage of those specials, make sure you are subscribed to my newsletter. You can find the link to sign up in the description below, but that will be coming out in a few weeks. It will be the only communication for those specials. So get in where you fit in. Don't ask me about it after the fact if you see this later. It is what it is. So you have like a good 2 weeks before that newsletter drops. So again, get in where you fit in, sign up and join the newsletter at the link below. Okay. All right. I believe that's it for announcements. So let's actually get into this. So like I was saying earlier, um, the focus for this message is about destiny diversions. And the reason for that being is I could sense and can tell, both in general with the spirit, my time with the spirit, but also like what I've been seeing with clients um, this year and the messaging, a lot of the messaging that's been coming through about the endings of cycles and the beginning of cycles has brought this to the fore. So, with that ending of cycles and beginning of cycles, of course, that can kind of just be taken and um, not really grasp the depth of the meaning and how impactful that actually is on one's life. Um, Especially because there is so much ending and so much beginning, both astrologically, but also, within the world. So yeah, it can kind of be just kind of like, oh yeah, there's, ending and beginning and, whatever. Um, but the thing is, and I've mentioned this before, this isn't the usual ending and beginning. It is endings of long term things, whether that is at the scale of our individual lives, okay, or if it's at scale of larger communities, nation states, etc. So it's a different kind of thing. We've had like progressive levels of shifts and transformations, but this is really ending energy and beginning energy very strongly. This message today is specifically going to be on how this is going to be showing up in your personal life or how it may have been showing up in your personal life. Um, but yeah, long-standing things. So when I say long-standing, I'm referring to things related time-wise to nodal cycles and Saturn cycles, because that's usually how I personally address things in astrology. So nodal cycles, longer term nodal cycles, like 9 to 10 years, or 18 to 19 or 20, or 18 to 20 years. Okay, like those kind of iterations. For Saturn cycles, this is going to be for this particular message, this is more likely 14 year, 21 year, 28 to 29, 30 year demarcations, and those multiples, right? So as I'm speaking about these things, specifically again about destiny diversions, um, again, this is going to be addressing something that has been a long-term occurrence, or diversion from destiny, a diversion from a soul purpose path predominantly, that has occurred deeper in your past rather than just the last 2 to 3 years, which has been tumultuous, or the last 5 to 7 years, which has been tumultuous, right? Like there's been various levels of shorter term disruption, obviously. But that's been more collective disruptions that we've been having to navigate individually. This is about individual disruption to life path, life purpose. Okay, which is why again this message is called Destiny Diversions. So that's the context, the broad context for these spirit messages today. So as I've been sitting with spirit and diving a little bit more deeply into this, what I've been seeing, I've been noticing, that timing aspect. But another important part that I've been noticing is um, these diversions typically lining up with a significant romantic relationship encounter. Okay. So with those broad strokes, again, I didn't get too much deeper with spirit because I wanted to do the deep dive here with you and in this process. But that is here. So the soulmate thing, and soulmate meaning, specifically a romantic relationship, but a powerful romantic relationship that was um, might have started out nice, but the nature of the person was not good, not nice, and the nature of the relationship over time was not good, not nice. Okay, so that's where we are. With that context, this may not be a message for everyone. In fact, I'm sure it's not going to be a message for a lot of folks, because those specific things that I'm touching on may not be relevant for you. Okay, so if it resonates, it resonates. If it does not, it does not. But if it resonates, my hope is that this provides some insight and information, especially if you've been, um, you know, doing all the things over the years to help yourself kind of move through whatever, um, the destiny diversion has been creating for you in your life, mentally, emotionally, in your physical reality, that this provides some insight and you can turn the corner, you can liberate yourself from that. Or if you feel like you would like to seek out my support on that energetic level, book a session for that, right? But yeah, so that's the context. That's what we are addressing for today. So get yourself ready, get yourself something to drink. I'm already almost done with my matcha latte because I've been sitting here in spirit for a while before I jumped on. It's been like at least a good hour, hour and a half. So, you know, we'll see how long this message is going to be, because, I don't have my fuel anymore. I went through it already. That's where we're going to be sitting. Okay. So I already have cards out. I am going to start circling in and getting a little bit more specific. So I gave you broad context first with this intro. And now we're going to do the first part of the message, getting in more specific. Hello to folks who are here. Welcome. Say hello in the comments. I will check comments later on, but I want to get in because I'm in a flow. So I'm not ignoring you if you make comments and I don't say anything. I just I have the comments not on so that I don't get distracted, because as I discussed last time with the Gemini energy here, the distractions will be harder for your girl to not pay attention to. So um, it's all good though. All right. So this hangman is the first step on this journey of inquiry, of a deep dive into this topic that we're addressing. Okay. So this hangman card is for this context, talking specifically about this destiny diversion, but really how, if this is something that is resonating with you, you're at a place right now in your life where it's like, okay, it is a new beginning. I'm trying to make a new beginning, but I can't seem to make progress. I've been trying many things, and there's just this like this holding pattern. I don't know what else is there for me to see, what else is there for me to do. I've exhausted all of my known resources, ideas, avenues, etc. And there's just, again, this holding pattern. Now, because this is the hangman, this is a major arcana, this is a divine place to be in, because it means that there is divine insight available to you that is going to provide that information to help you move through and come out on the other side of whatever this is. So this is not, you know, life trying to knock you down, this, as frustrating and as hard as it may be. Ultimately, if you are here and if this is showing up, that means that there is a deeper through line at play that can actually help you to move through. Okay. But this, again, this is specifically showing up because within you, there is a spark, there is a desire right now where it's just like, no, I want this. I want to move forward. I've been managing, I've been making do, but now almost like there's a sacred rage, there's a sacred frustration, there's a sacred commitment to like, I am determined to push through this. Okay. Now, one of the things that specifically again has come up as it relates to this destiny diversion is this Three of Swords. Now, this is specifically heartbreak, heartache from being exposed to the truth of a situation. And this is specifically the truth of long-term either effects or, well, long-term effects of a committed relationship that you were a part of that did some serious damage. Since this is Three of Swords, this means that you are not with that person anymore. And again, this could be a recent leaving from that person, or this is from a long time ago. Regardless, they came into your life again a long time ago. And this is again in the context of the timing that I mentioned earlier. So regardless, you met them a long time ago. It might have ended a long time ago, or it might have ended recently, but the starting point was a long time ago with this person. And again, this is a committed relationship, romantic relationship. Meaning there was a contract, you were married. Okay. This could have been a spiritual marriage as well, too, depending on who you were with. So I'll say that as well. If there's something that happened within ceremony. That might be for a very few of you. A spiritual contract. To me, marriages are spiritual contracts as well, too. But For those of you where that's resonating, where this might be a spirit contract, this also can be the case. Okay. What this is showing, though, as well, too, it's not obviously a fun card, but this is a card of wisdom because what it does is it shows and represents when it's present that there is now an awareness of what was really going on, how harmful the situation was, and how important it was for you to leave. So over here, we like this card, even though it's not a fun card, but we like this because it means that you got your mental power back. Even if you don't feel like you have other types of power, you have the mental power back. And you acted on it because, again, you left the situation, whether it was a long time ago you left or you recently left. But again, the creation of that contract with that romantic partner was from a long time ago, and it still matters. It still matters because, I mean, what you can see here, there's literally a wound. The wound may have scabbed over, but the impact of the damage of that wounding has remained in play. So that could be like, and like in this imagery, like the ligaments or bones might have been broken and might not have healed correctly, and you just adapted to the dysfunction, right? You haven't gotten back to 100%. Because not that there is an inability to get back to 100%. There actually is, but because at the time and the time thereafter, it was more about getting out and adapting and surviving rather than reclaiming, restoring, strengthening, and moving forward. And that's fine. There's no judgment around that. It is what it is. Especially given the nature of the topic that we're talking about, you did the best that you could. Okay. You did the best that you could. But, if it wasn't something structural, so to speak, like that, it could just been like, there's an underlying infection that never quite went away and you managed the symptoms, but the root of the illness never actually got addressed. And so it's just been harboring there underneath the surface. And again, you're finally at a place now where you're like, okay, I want to address that. So take it as it resonates. And that's where we are right now with the Prince or the Knight of Cups. This is the willingness now to go deeper because there's an awareness since this hangman is the experience that we're having. There's an awareness that like there's something more here that is beyond what I've been able to ascertain for myself or from the help that I've sought out over the years to address this issue or what might seem like a separate issue, but again has its roots in that traumatic wounding. And what I'm hearing for Spirit is that the door is open to actually do this deeper dive and to do this deeper work in the service of your own liberation, which is always supported by Spirit. Okay, so you're ready, willing, and able to do that deeper dive and to see what is unseen, which doesn't necessarily mean that it's hidden. Because again, because it's been so long and because there's been so much good adaptation around surviving in spite of and possibly thriving in spite of, it's no longer seen as an issue. And because it's not being seen as an issue, it's not creating apparent heightened emotions or mental excitation. You just don't see it because it's part of the scenery. I've given this example before. If you've been with me for a while, you've heard me say this about how, like, you can live in the same town or city for the longest time and feel like you know everything, have been everywhere, and it's just like, oh, I know what's up. And someone new comes in and they reveal to you how they love this coffee shop on such and such corner. And you're like, what coffee shop? You've never seen it. You've always seen it, but it's never registered because, again, it's just part of the scenery. The coffee shop wasn't hiding, but it just became the norm. And it's innocuous, it's mundane at that point. The coffee shop isn't doing anything to you, right? But it's not doing anything, it's just there. That's a wound scabbed over, right? And so a new perspective, new information, new pathway comes in and it's like, hey, what's that over there? Or I see this, and you're like, where did that come from? Oh, it's been here the whole time. That's kind of this vibe. Okay. But the door is open to do that deeper dive. And we give thanks for that. And we're doing a deeper dive because there is an awareness of two things. First, on the external level, because this is the Emperor card, this is purpose. That this person that you were romantically involved with and that you had a contract with, right? Most likely marriage. They and the relationship itself acted as a diversion from your path, or like a branch off of your main path. I'll say it that way. Because your path is a tree, and this is a branch off of a twig off of like a main branch of the tree. As I said, for those where this message is resonating with, you already addressed that external issue, the components that you understand anyway, because you left that relationship, again, whether it was a long time ago or whether it was recently. But what actually has to be addressed now is even understanding what the path was, like what the main path was that you diverted from or branched off from, and finding out, because that's first, but secondarily, finding out where you have, not only at that time where, but also how you have continued to usurp your own power as it relates to proactively walking that path. Because even though the diversion was removed, you haven't gotten back on track, which is why this is here. So that means there's a lack of clarity on the path. And there's a lack of clarity on that because it got clouded so much by this relationship and the dynamics of it. And so there has to be a willingness with the Seven of Pentacles to look at where unknowingly you drop the ball on yourself. How this is going to show up is all the places where, again, unknowingly, you are fighting actively from a subconscious place, because again, this is not with awareness, where you were actively fighting ways to bring yourself back onto your path. This is very much giving that vibe of thinking that things can't work out, seeing all the ways that something can go wrong. Maybe because of how things went wrong in the past. But again, that perspective is colored very much so by that past relationship. This idea that you can think your way through something. Obviously, that hasn't worked. But yeah, this actually feels like a lot of battle with self that actually has to be um, seen for what it is and unlocked from the ways that it is binding you. Because the call is clear, again, which is why this is coming up right now. There is a different kind of call, a different kind of energy, a different kind of resolve from a deeper soul level to get back to the main branch of your tree. That's coming up because this time that you're in right now, that you're receiving this message, whenever you receive this message, means again that the door is open for you to more easily get back on track. That there are people, places, things, situations in the environment, short term and long term, that are lining up in such a way to support you, not only in your immediate future, but also mid to long term and future in this regard. So it's louder now, this message. So now you get to do this journey of the Seven of Cups, seeing everything that's there, being open to all the possibilities, and letting, in particular, that time in your life to bubble up to the surface to be seen. In the context of you and your path, your sole purpose, not the relationship. Because again, we've established there was already clarity about the negative impact of the relationship. It's already been cleared out, whether it was cleared a long time ago or more recently, but that's done. The work now is the you work. The work now is the you work, where you are two things. One, unclear of the path, the purpose, and two, the ways you are, how you are usurping your own power to get back onto that path. Okay, does that make sense? Now I will check the comments. Hi from North Carolina. Welcome, welcome. Hello from Chicago. Welcome. Chicago. Greetings from Inglewood. Welcome, Inglewood. Looking for some tea to sip on this for this much needed read, right? Welcome. Welcome. All right. As you see, I am almost done. Oh, before I forget, if you are new here, welcome. My name is Jynnette The Oracle. Also, if you're new, please do subscribe to the channel, like the video, and if you want, share it with those who you think might resonate with it. It really does help to spread this within the ecosystem. Thank you in advance. Alrighty. I don't see any questions, so I'm gonna get rid of the comments and get back into the focus of this message. So now we're going to be getting into the next part of this message, which is going to be looking at the 3D, so to speak. So it's going to be your direct experience in your life. The 4D, which is going to be about the relational aspects, so those around you. And this can be both in the physical as well as the spirit. So it is going to be addressing both. And then we're going to be looking at the 5th dimension, which is going to be giving a clue into the dynamics that are actually at play that may not have been seen before, or that can provide additional clarity and insight. Okay. Again, I already have all the cards out. I'm always trying to save time so I can focus. I'm just getting the message out. Okay, so again, you and your experience, this 3 of Swords represents you as an individual that is resonating where this message is for. Okay. This showing up as representative of you means that the wound of being diverted from your destiny, from your soul purpose, is still impacting you to this day. Impacted you then, but also is impacting you still to this day, because this is still the energy of you, even with your ability to survive and in some cases thrive. This is still the energy of you. This is still what's showing up. Yes, that romantic relationship was problematic with the Knight of Wands. It was someone who very much was controlling and aggressive. Now, that aggression could have showed up in a myriad of ways. Could have been mental abuse, mental/verbal abuse, emotional abuse, physical abuse, financial abuse. Any of those 4, any one of those 4, as well as any combination or all. Now, this person, because again, the message is destiny diversion. This person showing up in your life at that time specifically was an aspect of spiritual warfare, because they were showing up at a time in your life when you were about to take those bigger proactive steps to follow the path that was on your soul, heart, mind, desires. You were believing your worth, you were believing your abilities, You were believing the bigger dreams and visions that were coming down to you, and you were saying yes to it. And things in your life were starting to open up for that. And so this became very attractive because this was like the final puzzle piece that would make everything be picture perfect. Being on purpose with company. And this is someone with power. Also could be spiritual power as well too. So to be clear about that, that was a time again when that's what was opening up what you were saying yes to. Now you may be like, well, how did I allow this person who has this kind of vibe to have their way with me? Like, why did I say yes to that? That may be bringing up shame in you. Because this is still the Three of Swords energy. The the construct of you, who you are in the world, was not solid. And that construct is developed by what you grow up in the immediate community you're around. Okay, so the places where you're strong are strong, but the places where there's weakness or holes, right? Like, and for the most part, people don't have quote unquote perfect childhoods, right? Everybody has different aspects of childhoods. They might have great living home life, but the community in school or the local community might not be all that great, or vice versa, or both and. So it's going to depend. So for some of you, this Eight of Wands is very much a community thing, and I'm using community really more so like culture, actually, in this context, because I don't know that friends or siblings would actually be existing outside of the cultural um, frameworks. This actually feels like it might be, because this obviously isn't a message for everyone at certain folks. This feels like this might be specific cultural influences. Where, like, in a lot of ways, if you do pursue or start to go after what you want, it actually means leaving the safety and security of what is there, and that's very scary, especially if the culture requires you to be there. But again, as I'm saying culture, this is including friends, immediate family, extended family, the people at the school, the local community, like the vibes in your local environment. You might have had an easier time considering yourself, your own feelings, what you want for sure. But I also get a sense that in your home life as well too. Again, if this message is resonating for you, that there was a lot of selfishness by the adults, or those, or just in general those who are older than you, which could include, of course, siblings, where their needs, their desires superseded yours. And so there is a deference to those in positions of more power or respect. With those conditions, it's very easy for this to come in. and take root. Because this is not to say that everybody doesn't encounter this. A lot of people encounter this kind of person in terms of romantic relationships, but not everybody is going to say yes. And those differences show up based off of the foundation that has been laid when you encounter this kind of person, because this foundation determines the tools that you have to deal with this kind of person, as well as it's whatever is inherent to you and your spirit, because regardless of the environment, the nature of you just could be like, no, right? But again, given that this is the nature of you, or whoever this message is resonating for, being the Three of Swords, that's not a position of strength in this context. Getting out of the situation, yes, that's good. That's wisdom, but that's wisdom is knowledge and experience, right? But yeah, you were ready to get out of your shell, out of the container that you were in, because real talk, if we're going to be honest, and we have to be honest because I'm me, and this is what we do over here. Liberation requires honesty. You were trying to get out anyway. Because as loving and supportive and well-meaning as family, friends, local community was, you know in your heart and soul it was not for you. You know in your heart and soul it was not for you. And the path that was opening up for you, that you were going to be saying yes to, absolutely was going to be taking you outside of the nest. Whether the nest liked this person or not is irrelevant. Because real talk, if you notice, these are both knights. The nature of these is actually the same. They just show up differently. This knight is more emotional manipulation, love wrapped up in a negative uh, expression of duty. This is love through control, or what seems to be love through control and aggression. So that's a description of, the conditions at that time, but these are also still in play. This is a past, present, and future message if you don't shift, right? If you don't pay attention to these dynamics and create something different for yourself. These are at play because regardless of the shifts and changes that you do, this is still what it is, right? And again, this message isn't about changing other people. This is about you helping you to get clear, or at least shift in that direction where you can turn in the direction of getting clear about your purpose, and ways that you might be usurping your power to get back on purpose. Practically. So saying that this is still a cause for concern. Okay. Again, the wound scabbed over, but it doesn't mean that the underlying thing has been healed. And it doesn't mean that this won't ever be an issue in the past. It is something that you do have to watch out and be mindful of, because this is the context and the breeding ground. And this type of energy in romantic relationships, again, this is the context, in romantic relationships, secondarily in spiritual relationships, but romantic relationships, this kind of energy shows up because it's attracted to this. Okay, moths to a flame. And like I said, this was what was burgeoning before that person came in. diverted to destiny. This is coming up again right now. So you do need to be mindful of new soulmates popping up right now. And be mindful of this energy. I think you will be able to assess that it's there. But that's only one thing, one step. If this energy is showing up, that means that's another thing to indicate to you, to affirm, to reinforce this message of the fact that you are at a place right now where spirit is speaking to you loud about being at a point in time on the path where you can get back to the main branch of your tree, of your soul purpose tree. So you can view this as a blessing, as a mile marker, while not, stopping to inspect a mile marker. You can just be like, okay, I get it. My attention is here, not here. Right? That's again, if that person is showing up. Now, as it relates to the environment, we were touching on that a little bit, but specifically those around you, whether physical or in the spirit. Princess of Pentacles, absolutely greed and desire for what you have, or just greed and desire in general, jealousy in general. So this is the type of energy that regardless of who is showing up with this, they're going to be looking to get a piece of it. Not even all of it, just a piece of it. They need to be connected in some way. It's very parasitic. And it is a control thing. They want aspects of what appears to be valuable to be able to control it, to be able to claim it as their own. It's very territorial. Again, this can be family or friends. Also, possibly could be coworkers. Again, depending on the ages of people and when certain things happen. So, relate this to your context. But for family in the past, this is very much like, and on the surface, it makes sense. It's innocuous, but this is the negative quality of it. It's a sense that like the choices that people are making within the family, the successes that they're having, etc., as well as the failures, are representative of the family itself. And so there are those who are the architects of the family legacy, self-prescribed or otherwise, who have a vested interest in controlling the narrative, controlling the path, ensuring certain things happen in certain ways to preserve the brand of family, i.e., legacy. And this could be something as like, if you come from a religious family, this could be a thing where religious / conservative, because they don't necessarily have to be the same thing, but you could come from a family where there's very rigid gender roles. And so if you, as you're coming up, there's very specific expectations on um, when you're supposed to be doing certain things, how you're supposed to be dressing, what type of professions even you can pursue, right? Depending on, again, how restrictive it is, that's one way that can be showing up. This could even be like who you can even marry or consider being married to. Yeah, it is. I think it is actually more religious on this. I was trying to get away from it, but I'm like, I forgot this card was here. The high priest literally represents religion, the culture of, and I'm using religion as a broad term because it's going to depend on the culture. But yeah, the beliefs of the culture, the beliefs of the spiritual ideologies of the people, very much dictating what is valued, what is seen as appropriate and not appropriate, what is seen as successful versus not successful. All those things inform. So the strong component of religion here, but it can also be cultural as well too, because they are different as well. So take that as it resonates for you. Yeah, it's interesting here with the Ace of Swords. This is very much speaking to that strong commitment to um, making sure that the standing within the greater community that the family is a part of um, is clear and almost unimpeachable in a way. Again, by outward appearances, regardless of what's going on internally. This also is volatility, though. This almost actually feels like trying to um, shift the state of the family in a way, the lot of the family, if you will. Lot as in luck. To have something better. Literally, the luck and improving the fortune. And so, in those instances, which are rare to be clear, where um, there is a certain type of light, purpose, drive within a new member of the family, or any member of the family for that matter, where this kind of arises, right? Where this arises, um, where they're like, hey, this can be a way to take a step up or leverage our group path in a certain way to get a leg up. For those of you who are Black in in the diaspora, this is like the Black tax. the unseen black tax for those who uniquely are positioned to have access to more. Okay. Yeah, because they've only been able to get so far with the Seven of Pentacles. They've gone as far as they can. And in the context of you, you are about to be able to go farther because of bigger conditions that have nothing to do with you, right? As well as the nature of your own spirit. And it's like, oh, great. I get to leverage our hopes and dreams on you. This card is the Strength card, and this is showing up with the. Oh, hold on one second. One moment. Okay, so just had to clarify. Um, there's a bigger contract that your family has, which is informing why they as a group, or at least, certain of those powerful players are showing up in the way that they're showing up. Which may or may not still be in play. And that's, I think, more so going to be determined by how many people are still Earthside versus not, to kind of keep certain dynamics in play in the physical. Of course, the non-physical is a different story, but in terms of the physical, if a lot of those folks are still around just to operate the same way, because they honestly would have no reason to change, then that very much is still present. If a lot of them have actually left, then that dynamic is not really going to be as in play in the physical, because again, they're not keeping up that contract. Let's see if I can get some information about what that is. I could, but I'm going to choose not to. I can, but I'm going to choose not to right now. Because that's the part where there's the non-physical spiritual warfare that's external to the internal war with self. And that actually would be a distraction from getting the rest of this message out. So, and also have to be cognizant of everyone here because I don't have a specific container set up for you all right now for this. So we won't expose y'all to things you don't need to be exposed to. But yeah, I'll probably just address that in client sessions with people if we do some energy work. All right, so moving on. Well, I'll be able to talk around it. I won't be able to get to specific naming, but I can talk around it. Or talk about the root of it. So, root of these dynamics. Um, yeah, there is a lure for powerful families or those who are families that are wombs for powerful souls. And it's more opportunistic in nature. I'm feeling more so than like specific targeting. Um, so again, it can seem innocuous on the surface, but it's like being tangled in a web once you get in and may not realize the consequences of what you're trying to do. But ultimately, really, being lured in by this is really a lack of um, clarity for the power of the group in general. It's also like very almost tribal in nature because rather than there being alliances between other groups, other families, other soul groups, whatever, um, it's about like, okay, well, let me find um, this secret way or what have you to get a leg up. But if you see, everyone actually is the same. Like all the dragons are the same. It's not even different colors. There are cards in here where there are different colored dragons, but this isn't one. Like all the dragons are the same, equally powerful. But that desire for distinction, which is really like ego elevation, is strong there. Because this is not an elevation in purpose, in spiritual power, in love. Because that's where the color would show, right? But that's a different kind of journey. It's a different kind of thing to value. And it speaks to the hyper focus of, the impact of the physical life and wanting to have, in general, especially when you have many, many souls in various large groups of families, clusters, having certain experiences and not wanting to have certain experiences anymore because there are bigger structural influences, right? So, I get it. Again, innocuous on the surface, but it has very real consequences at the personal individual level when this is trying to break through in someone and their group is like, no, I need to control this. This is for all of us, right? And that's on a family level. And then for the individuals that show up in the romantic relationship, they get sent out from the group to bring, to bring to their own group, right? They send out the knights to find partners to bring this to their group if within their own group this is not arising. So it works both ways. And so these are the conditions. And the bigger conditions that are leaning these groups of families, because obviously this is many people that this could be applying um, to behave that way, are very real. That you as an individual also have to deal with. But the thing is, you're blessed and highly favored to actually achieve it. And that's what's being seen, which is why this destiny diversion has occurred in the first place. The conditions are set in the family, in your personal container, and they got solidified to divert in that relationship. Again, which you're now free from, but you're again at that point where this is popping up again. So this energy that is luring also is not able to go farther than where it has gone. Meaning that's the extent of its power of its jurisdiction. Essentially, it's there to keep the game going, so to speak. This energy is not in service to the elevation and the leaving from the cycle of highs and lows. The thing that's not understood or possibly not believed is that when you've gone as far as you can go, That's telling you the extent of your limits. And that which is beyond is the realm of that which is bigger than you, Great Spirit itself, God, Source, Creator. And that's where the focus actually needs to turn to, because there's still more. It's just more that's not under your control. It's not more that the more isn't bound by the law of changes, right? Because there's a freedom there. There's a dissolving of those extremes of polarity, but that dissolution is not death. It's not the end. Like life continues. Like existence, Great Spirit, God is still there, is still living, breathing and existing us into existence, right? So things don't stop. So this, in both situations, whether it's the family group, which includes the greater soul group where these partners have come out of, as well as the bigger groups or more power players in the larger system, um, they're not actually prevented from going further. It's that, again, it's as far as they going, because as that's the limit of their ability to exercise control and power, and there's a refusal to give that up. Like the hoarding and the consolidation of power is intense. The hoarding and the consolidation of power, accumulation of power, is the modus operandi, and it's intense. And the thing is, we're all God's children. So even at this level, this is actually this, it's true nature. But they don't want to actually do the work of building and working in that way. Oh, actually, well, on on the physical, because it's two different messages. So on the physical, they're not going to do the work required, right? Like they have the building blocks with the magician card here, but they're not going to do the work required. And for them, they'd rather use their power to have others to do it, because they just want to stay in this kind of an idea space and not have skin in the game, so to speak, because having skin in the game means that you're going to have to experience failure, experience pain, all those things. And to be honest, they actually don't want to feel and experience those things. They're really deathly afraid of that, which is like a weird place to be in mentally. Wanting the labor of those willing to do that, who are fearless enough to be in that place, because you want their power, but you can't actually get their power. You just get the results of the power, and you're continuing to seek the power itself, and you can't ever get it. And so the cycle continues. Because the thing you're missing is the work that you're avoiding, the process of life that you're avoiding, the being just like everybody else, that you're avoiding. Now, on the spiritual side of things, this is for those who have not been granted the privilege, the honor, the gift of um, being a soul. We're all spirits, and everything has a spirit, so to speak, in essence, right? Not everything has a soul. A soul is a gift and a privilege. These are folks who don't have that. They don't have that gift and that privilege. And so there's different things that we as souls, and I'm saying that broadly because I'm not specific to human soul. A soul can be many things over the eons of existence that it has, existing as a soul. But in all the known universe, both on this planet and beyond, it's extremely rare. It is a gift and a privilege. And most of the spirit, meaning everything else in life, does not have that gift and privilege, regardless of the form the souls take. It is a gift and a privilege to be a soul. So these energies that do not have that gift and privilege have a problem with that. This is not all of them, it's specifically these ones in this engaging in this behavior. They have a problem with that. And there's a recognition that there's more that is able to get tapped into, different things that can be experienced, etc., that the soul has access to that they do not. And this is very much giving, I want what you have. And I'll do whatever it takes to get it. But again, given the nature of this energy, it's not, I'm going to go after you directly. I'm going to lure you or work with those who are good at luring and get what I need that way. Because I'm being prevented from having what you have. I'm going to get into why that is, actually. Is because of the nature of their spirits. Like it's actually a no from the universe itself, like the greater creator beings that are like the fabric of the universe. It's like, yeah, no. Or at the very least, not this time or not this universe, maybe a different universe. Because there are many universes. Yeah, I mean, that's really it could be like, the next universe, and there's just a lack of a lack of patience for that. It's like, "No, I want it now." Mhm. I haven't liked the other versions of the universes, the other options. I like this option. Ooh, okay. Um, let me see if there's anything else, on this initial, pass before I check the comments. While I'm doing that, if there are questions, put them in the comments, and I'll see if I can check in on anything else. There's a desire at this level, that I'm still on right now about wanting to preserve the extraction, kind of like creating a feedback loop or, farming in a way. There's been a lot of practice with this because this is obviously not a new dynamic. So it's pretty good systems in place that haven't been in place for a while. And when I say a while, I'm meaning like millennia in various forms and various cultures. This is not new. This energy is very good at perceiving family groups, family clusters, individual family pods, um, that are good incubators for this energy to pop up, or to be safe to be, um, brought up within you and others like you who are experiencing these destiny diversions. It's easy to see because in the spirit, it's easy to see that spirit, the spirit of this light, this vitality. It's easy to see, which is why it's easy for these types of folks to find you. It's like this almost is like a homing device. And the solution is not to hide, because hiding is a way that you usurp your own path and purpose. You have to be willing to be seen and to trust your good sense and your wisdom to identify this, as well as environments that can divert you from your path. Okay. Let's see comments. Um, ooh, lots of comments. Okay, thank you for all the comments. Let me go through here. Thank you for your patience, y'all. Someone says resonates. Thank you. Okay, great. OMG, I met my Capricorn ex-husband at that time, that I was on a delayed entry program into the military. Ultimately got pregnant and was unable to leave. Whole life changed from there. That right there. Although at the time I felt like I was saved, quote unquote, as a military may not have been the safest calling for me. And the wound is still there due to the proximity of where we all live. I literally imagine what the impact would be like if I were to remarry or leave the country as truly desired. Wow, yeah, but that's exactly that. And this is not saying, obviously, for those who have actually had children, because that also is a thing. But the children are going to show up regardless, right? If they're coming through, they're coming through. But yeah, that's an example. Thank you for sharing that. I appreciate it. Is this within one family or many families? Both. It's both. Your voice and energy is very calming, just what I needed. First time watcher. Oh, welcome. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate it. I'm glad that's calming. Um, I definitely am trying to be calming because I know this topic is this is not something that I've experienced, but for those who have dealt with this type of partner, and things that have impacted them a long time ago, it's not a light thing. So it can be uh, disorienting, to say it nicely. So I'm glad, but welcome to the Soul family. To divert his bloodline, Grace Sky 312. Can you ask about that one again? That question, to divert his bloodline, because I'm not sure. So it's not about this diversion of destiny is not about the other people. So this message is for those who have experienced this destiny diversion and how romantic partner has opportunistically come in the past to divert you and coming back on. So let me know if that answers that question. Let's see. There are multiple relationships that destiny diversion has applied to my life. Thank you for the validation and illumination as always. Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. Yeah, it definitely can relate to many things, but this in particular is um for those who actually have been bound in some way, shape, or form, which means that it was either a really long-term relationship or an actual marriage. Y'all have kids together, y'all are living together, because even like getting a house together is its own binding. But yeah, it's especially true for those. But also, if there's been a pattern of this very specific type of thing, yes. Because again, as I said earlier, this is not something that is like, oh, a one-time thing. As you can see, this is actually built into the womb space of the experience, because this is a family dynamic, it's an ancestral dynamic, and it's also a greater uh, cultural dynamic where this kind of opportunistic person can come in when you're at that stage in a particular life where things are going to be opening up for whatever soul path, soul purpose is going to be, and it's pops up there to divert you, and it's really hard to deal with it because there's such a strong connection and attraction. And it's not, again, necessarily because, at least on the surface or initially, the negative aspects of this are showing up. It's more so, at least what I was picking up before, they feel like a way to kind of complete the picture because, again, of this greater cultural context that has shaped what success is going to be looking like, right? Hello. Are there souls who are just meant to be alone there during their incarnation? I'm assuming you mean romantically. In general, no. I honestly haven't come across um the situation where that's not the case. I'm using romantic very broadly though, because obviously there are people who um can be asexual, demisexual. So romantic is gonna be related to a context specific to the person. Um, so it may not be that kind of like deep emotional love, but it can be like deep respect, intellectual collaboration. Whether or not that ends up being marriage, you may or may not engage with that because it may or may not be relevant based on your culture. But depending on where you live, it may be something that you engage with because there's a societal benefit that helps you both, but it's not related to emotional feelings, right? So I speak kind of broadly, but uh, so yeah, kind of, but not kind of. Well, I can say that I can't say that I am completely alone, but yes, romantically. Um, yeah, it's well, in general, no, but often when people ask that kind of question, that reads to me length of time with a connection rather than the fact that connections happen because we associate length of time with being more valuable versus not often. Um, so, in no, not everyone is going to have a long term partner, but will they have important connections? Absolutely. Whether those last your lifetime, because that's a relationship lasting over the years is part luck, but it also is part, again, the broader culture and society in which you live, because that's a component of your relationship. When you are in a relationship with someone, it's not just you with that person, it's you with them and their family, them and both of your communities, and you and the society in which you live and the dynamics around that. All of that actually is your relationship. And it actually matters. Love is not enough. And that has been a hard lesson for your girl. I learned it, but it's a hard lesson. Love is not enough. So hopefully that answers your question. I know I'm rambling. Um, but yeah, hopefully that answers that. I feel like many of the soulmates that I meet are karmic and not healthy. I also know that this is due to my learned behaviors and things uh, I work on every day on healing, but I'm so exhausted. Yeah, I get that. Yeah, it definitely can be tiring for sure. For sure. Also, I want to say over here, I do a lot of clarification on languages because my perspectives on things are more nuanced and also tend to be broader than what happens in the broader context. So often when I say soulmate, it will be romantic partners, children, family members, business partners, friends, because soulmates are those in your greater soul group. And they're in your life because they're in the greater soul group. Um, Usually, though, when people are talking about soulmates, they are referring to romantic context. So, um, but depending on what I'm speaking on, I do try to be as specific as possible so that there's not a misunderstanding. Yeah. I don't know if Gray Sky is still around, but did I answer your question about the bloodline thing? Sorry to hear about your children. Um, but yeah, Gray Sky, if you're still here, let me know if I answered that question or not. Okay, so let me see if there's anything else. I think we are good. We got into we got into what I'm willing to get into on on Oracle Talks. But I think that's been enough. I think that's been the gist of what has needed to be relayed because it feels like it's complete. Um, Thank you. I gotta stop being an Eeyore. No, it is what it is. You're welcome. All right. So I don't see Grace commenting, so I don't think Grace is still there. So hopefully that answered the question. Okay, so I think I'll just hit closing guidance. If this resonates with you and you think that you would benefit from doing energy healing work with me, like I said, I do have a link for that in the description below. When you're signing up for that, please be as descriptive as possible about what's going on for you. My availability for sessions updates every week, every Sunday. So check every Sunday for new availability for sessions. Closing guidance is the High Priestess, which I love, because this talks about sitting with your own wisdom, your own intuition, your own spirit. Now that this information has been brought to light, this context has been brought to light, and to do a deeper dive now, that you've been given this head start, so to speak. The High Priestess, in the way that it differs from the moon card in my interpretation, is that it's, well, not just my interpretation, but the difference is that it's saying that what's there is readily accessible, whereas the moon card is something is being hidden from you and you don't have access to it, usually, depending on whatever else is showing up. But the High Priestess isn't keeping information from you. It's available now, and it's much more easily accessible, which is good to know. Which is really good to know. So go forth. Yes. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. You have an absolutely gorgeous soul. I'm thankful to meet you. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for the message today. You are welcome. You are welcome. Glad this resonated. Like I said, I've been sitting with this one for about a week, and I was sitting in spirit for a minute before I jumped on today, because I was like, this feels like it's a very specific message. So I'm glad it resonates. But yeah, thank you all so much for being here. Again, subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed. Please like the video, comment, and share. Is much appreciated. Book a session if that resonates. Definitely sign up for the newsletter, because like I said at the beginning, I do have some specials coming out in celebration of 10 years of Innocent Alchemy, and they're only coming out in the newsletter. I'm not putting them out publicly. So if you want to have access to that, make sure you are signed up for the newsletter. That is going to be dropping in 2 weeks. Okay, maybe a little bit less, but it's coming soon. So make sure you sign up for that. Okay. But besides that, God willing, I will see you next time. I have no idea what the next topic will be. Usually I get a little bit of a heads up, but this message really needed to come through. So we'll see if we need to talk about it more next time, or if something else will be popping up. I don't know, but this message is for you if it's for you, regardless of when you see it, because YouTube will let people see things whenever they see them. So this is not a time specific thing. If it's for you, it's for you. Do I work with the archangels? Yes. I work with a lot. Yes. I work with Raphael. I work with most of the main archangels of light and some extra ones. But yes. Okay. So that is it. Love you all. And have a wonderful weekend. And like I said, God willing, I will see you next time. Bye.